Welcome to the third session of third day international conference on pharmaceutical research and innovations to tackle future healthcare arena. Today we have Dr. C.D. Upasni sir, professor in pharmacology and principal at SNJB's SSDJ College of Pharmacy as the chairperson of this session, and Dr. Anand Bhandari, GlaxoSmithKline London, as a eminent speaker. I welcome both the chairperson and speaker in this session. We have Dr. C.D. Upasni sir as a chairperson. Sir is PhD from Maharaja Sayajirao Gaikwad University, Baroda in 2002. In 2002, M.Pharm in Pharmacology from Bharati Vidyapeeth, College of Pharmacy, Pune in 1995. B.Pharm from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Maulana Azad Education Trusts, Y.V. Chavan College of Pharmacy, Aurangabad in 1993, and D.Pharm from MSBT's Dhule Charitable Trust Institute of Pharmacy in 1989. Sir has total experience of 27 years in teaching field, guided 57 M.Pharm students and PhD 18 students. Sir is honored as a member of National Academy of Medical Science and Anand Prize for Best Paper. Dr. Upasni sir is honored with prestigious Bharati Vidyapeeth Pune College of Pharmacy Pharmacy Teacher of the Year 2019 award. He grabbed Miss Kannan Ishwar Mehta Memorial Oration Award 2020, conferred by Maharaja Sayajirao Gaikwad University, Vadodara. Last academic year, Sir is recipient of Best Principal Award for Academic Year 2020-21 by Savitribai Phule University, Pune. If you look after the research area, Sir research area includes oxidative stress, diabetes, neuropathy, and pain and inflammation. He grabbed grant of rupees 3.85 crore from various government funding agencies like AICT, DBT, DST, ICMR, and Savitribai Phule University, Pune. He completed 3 projects as a principal investigator, has 78 national, 39 international publications to his credit. 3 patents are either filed or granted, and about 18 books have been authored by Upasni sir. Sir delivered several lectures and presentations as a resource person in various national, international seminars, workshops, and conferences. He is chairman of Board of Studies in Pharmacology at SPPU Pune and member of Academic Council of SPPU Pune, and he is president of Maharashtra State of Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India. I heartily welcome you, sir, in this session.
Thank you.
Today we have Dr. Anand Bhandari, CMO Technical Manager, GlaxoSmithKline London, UK, as a resource person. Dr. Anand has completed his postgraduate in pharmaceutical sciences from Annamalai University and PhD in formulation development from Indian University. He has co-authored 2 textbooks. Dr. Anand has experience in industry in formulation development scientist as VTIL India, techno-commercial role at GlaxoSmithKline India as oral solid dosage technical lead, currently working as technical manager, medicinal and medical devices for GlaxoSmithKline Europe and UK, has accreditations in technical risk assessment, statistics, and validation science. I heartily welcome Dr. Anand with this session. Today, Dr. Anand will talk on product lifecycle management in pharmaceutical industry. Welcome, Dr. Anand, sir. Session is over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Prashant. So, Prashant, if you can switch the screen to my presentation, please. Thank you. So, hello everyone. Very good afternoon for today. Before starting my session, I would like to thank Dr. Upasni for honoring me by chairing this particular session. I don't know Dr. Upasni will remember or not, but 25 years ago, I had met Dr. Upasni at Chandwad College itself, getting his guidance, and he happily gave me all the guidance which I was requesting him. So, thank you very much for that time you gave me 25 years ago, sir. Thank you very much. So, starting the session today, we have heard so many eminent speakers in last 3 days. We spoke about multiple technologies. We spoke about great scientific achievements in area of pharmaceutics and how we are going to tackle the future of pharmaceutical challenges, how we are going to work on therapeutical developments. I'm not going to talk about any research area as such because in front of such a great eminent researchers, I don't think I stand at all to talk about any research. What I'm going to talk about is product lifecycle management. It is little different topic, but it will definitely help you all to understand how better we will be able to tackle the future challenges in pharmaceutical arena. Can you see my slides? So on this slide, you will see many food items. Definitely, I am a foodie, so I will talk about food a little here, not related to any research, but why I'm presenting this slide to you all here. So my basic question to you all is, have you all eaten at one particular restaurant multiple times and found the quality and the taste is not same? You must have. It can be either better quality or it can be worse quality. In both the cases, your lookout change towards that restaurant. Why that happens? That happens because the life cycle of this particular dish that is not maintained throughout from it was when developed by main chief chef invented this dish and routine chef cooking this dish because the ingredients used may change, the utensils may change, the person cooking the dish may change, and seasons may change, and this all list of changes goes on. This is actually called as life cycle of a product. In today's session, we will be covering the topics like what is product life cycle management, why product life cycle management is required, what is ICH-Q12, what are the benefits of PLM, what are the stages of PLM, and finally, we will talk about the key message through this session, and then I will take any questions if they are. So, basically, what is product lifecycle management? Product lifecycle management ties together the critical quality concept of risk assessment, control strategy, validation, monitoring, and change control that enables us to detect any drift in product performance. It is an essential expectation of regulators in 21st century to assure reliable supply of quality product. Product lifecycle management is interpretation of regulatory guidance of the process validation. PLM provides a framework that is key to ensure the consistent and robust manufacturing of commercial product. Product lifecycle management is a methodology by which we design, implement, control, as well continuously improve our products and processes. As a principle, it describes how we manage and utilize knowledge of our product through the process validation lifecycle. In pharma industry, a dedicated department which may be known as different names, it may be known as technical services, it may be known as manufacturing science and technology, it may be known as manufacturing science technical team, technical operations team. This team looks after product lifecycle management of products through product transfer, change management, risk assessment, risk mitigation, deviation investigations, validation lifecycle, and continued process verification. Dr. Bhoop in his presentation has very well covered the quality by design aspect of product development. Today, through my presentation, I will take you through once the product is developed, validated, and launched, how the further life cycle is managed, and how we are going to tackle this in future with new concepts like monoclonal antibodies, or if we are going to talk about gene therapy, if we are going to talk about vaccine development, medical devices, and list go on. Why do we need product lifecycle management, and why this such a great influence this particular subject has in industrial aspect? Basically, if you are an industrial person or though you are a research scientist, the person standing in the middle here with the hands on the head always tackles as an industrial person these questions. There is an increase of agglomeration in my product. Now product is failing specification, what should I do? Something has changed, my granules are not flowing, what should I do? We have an issue that's impacting shelf life of my product. Again, what should we do? Since the supplier is making change in raw material, we have seen a negative step change in yield of our product. Again, an issue. We have seen a high level of leak failure since crimping parameter of my sachet has been changed. Again, as a technical person, what I need to do? The last three batches show a typical dissolution profile compared to what was in the past. Again, what shifted, what changed, what I need to do, how I need to manage this. And finally, we have noticed a strange odor in this batch. So these are just few examples. So if you are standing at a night time 11 o'clock in the shop floor answering this question, your life becomes hell. And to not make it that worse, product lifecycle management is must to be implemented, and this is the way we are going for the future. Not only from the philosophical point of view, but also from the regulations and guidance to the industry point of view, ICH has released ICH Q12 regarding product lifecycle management. Here, the risk based approach is taken, that is, the categorization of any post approval changes are being considered. We establish the input and output to assure product quality, that is called as established conditions. Post approval changes are managed through pre agreed protocols to manage any changes during product lifetime. We have alternative approaches for stability developed because we have the product understanding and knowledge by QBD, that's example extrapolation of data. We have repository of many approval commitments that is carried through the product life cycle management. We have effective product control strategy, which we will talk in few slides later. We have a relationship between a regulatory assessment and inspection, that what kind of regulatory assessment we did for this particular product in house and what are the expectations of inspectors. There is a very good handshake between these two, which helps us to implement this ICH-Q12. And finally, there is a best way of structured approach of making any changes in the CMC file or anything after the approval through this product lifecycle management. So this is overall ICH-Q12, which also supports the philosophy of product lifecycle management, which we are talking today. What are the benefits of product lifecycle management, or if we talk it about in industrial language, what is in it for me? For example, If I am working with GlaxoSmithKline, one of the manufacturing site, and I go and ask quality control department for support, they will definitely ask me, okay, this is helping you as a technical person, but what is there for quality control lab? Why should we help you? So PLM exerts the benefit not only to a certain department but the across organization. It helps in improving the compliance by meeting the regulatory expectation, and we can remain in the license to operate condition. We mitigate the situations where product recall can happen. We will not get into those situations through product lifecycle management. We will assure the batch to batch quality. We will have improved customer service. When I say customer service, there are two type of customers. One is external customer, that is the patient who is getting the product from the company, and other is internal customer, that is the other stakeholders in the company to whom I provide service. So there will be better reliability of supply because our processes will be improved, and everything, all the activities we do will be right first time. It will be on time and in full deliveries. We call it OTIF, so that the product is always available on the shelves for the patients. There will be limited downtime due to failure, leading to any effective personnel required to support the customer service. This terminology called as FTE, that is full time equivalent, that is one person working on a project. So we will reduce the resources required due to downtimes. There will be reduced cost of the product. How the product cost will reduce? So if we will write off less batches, there will be less rejection, there will be less process waste. We will eventually reduce the cost of goods. There will be less resources required to investigate non compliances because we are proactively managing the product through product lifecycle management. And there will be appropriate change assessment, which will help us write first time implementation. There are three stages of product lifecycle management. The first stage is process design, that is also known as QBD, where we develop the process knowledge, where we understand and establish a strategy for process control, which is called as process control strategy. The second stage is process qualification. Through process qualification, the product control strategy is confirmed to be capable of delivering quality product. The provision of qualified facilities, utilities, equipment is prerequisite for process qualification. And the third stage is continued process verification, where we continuously assess and assure that the product is maintained in a state of control by monitoring, analyzing, and trending the data. Now we will go into details of each of these three stages. I do not have huge of text on my slides. It is more of pictorial, but I will use these pictorials to explain the philosophy. In the first stage, that is process design, where we conduct TRA, the acronym for Technical Risk Assessment, and PCS, the acronym for Product Control Strategy. How the technical risk assessment is carried out. So, while performing technical risk assessment, we break down every single unit operation in three things. One is I, that is input, second is P, that is process, and third is O, output, IPO. For example, if I am talking about a weight granulation process unit operation, my input will be the powdered material into the granulator. My input will be my granulating fluid into the granulator. My parameters will be the speed of mixer and chopper, the temperature of the granulating fluid, and my output will be a particular wattage reading on my granulator, which will give me clear assurance that the granulation happened to the optimal level, and I will have a consolidated granules which can be used for further drying and blending. So this is how we perform the IPO. Now, how we identify the risk. So for example, I will take again this granulation process. If the granulation fluid is added to the granulator at very high speed, it will cause a local granulation, and the granulation will not happen across the granulator. So we have to manage the flow rate of granulating liquid so that we will have the uniform distribution of this granulating liquid when the granules are mixing in this granulator through chopper and mixer. So my first risk is not maintaining the flow of granulating liquid into granulator, which can fail the granulation operation. Once we understand this risk at shop floor, we go and talk to the operator, because operators, they are very near to machine, they understand the noise of machine, and we discuss this risks with operator. I just gave you one example of granulation. If we talk about the whole tableting process, it starts from dispensing, dry mixing, granulation, drying, particle sizing, then blending, it goes to compression, it goes to packaging. So each of these unit operation is cut down, and we perform this kind of risk identification. Once we have identified the risk, we perform risk evaluation. What is risk evaluation? So we give numbering to this risk to understand what are our top 10% or top 20% risk in manufacturing this product. Because in manufacturing a product, there will be 1,000 risk minimum if you sit and identify risk, but all those 1,000 risks are not directly impacting your product quality at the end, which reaches to patient. So what you do, you number this risk based on your experience and the operation flow understanding and knowledge of the product, as well as the development history, and then you number this risk, and then you arrange this risk in the descending order of the score of this risk have, and that is called as failure mode effect analysis. What is failure mode effect analysis? That we establish a causes of failure with the product, identified what parameter or what attribute that critical to control the operation. Once we have performed the FMEA, that is failure mode effect analysis, we will get into writing a Bob diagram, or we call it as a control strategy map. What is control strategy map? So control strategy map is very simple diagram where you put all the product specification, that is your, if it is a suspension product, you will put viscosity of suspension, you will put content uniformity of suspension, you will put assay of suspension, you will put pH of suspension, and then using the FMEA performed already, you will see that if that particular unit operation has no impact on viscosity of suspension, we will put green color, that this unit operation has no impact on my viscosity. If the unit operation has little bit impact which may proliferate in next unit operation, we will put amber or yellow color, which will give us understanding that there is indirect connection between this unit operation and the viscosity of suspension. If it is directly correlated, for example, my mixing time has direct correlation with the viscosity of suspension at the end, I will put a red dot, and then we understand this is the critical process parameter which we need to maintain to get the good viscosity of the product. And this whole unit operation chart is ready, which help you to understand what parameters are be controlled more strictly to get the good quality of the product at the end of manufacturing. Once we have the product control strategy ready, we implement this product control strategy at the shop floor. And how we do that? While writing the batch manufacturing document, which we give to operator, we put all these parameters in bold, and we provide ranges of this parameter to the operator, that this particular machine parameter of mixing speed of main manufacturing vessel for suspension has to be managed between 8 to 10 rpm. Example I am giving, the operator understands that he has this range to manufacture the product, and we get the appropriate quality of the product. So we call it as a conversion of control strategy to the shop floor. So these batch records are our control strategy document. Then we perform in-process testing by taking various samples while product being manufactured, and this in-process testing help us understand that the manufacturing process is working appropriately and what kind of sampling is being done. For example, if we are talking about capsules manufacturing, where powder is filled into capsule, we take these capsules from the manufacturing line and perform weight variation, which helps us to understand that filling of the capsule is happening uniformly. Then we establish a standard work. What is standard work? Standard work is, I will give you very homely example, that you if you are four people at home, you, your mother, your sister and your father, if you prepare coffee for yourself, it will taste very good. If you request your mother to make coffee for you, it will even taste good. If you request your sister to make coffee for you, it may taste okay. And finally, if you request your father, I'm just giving example, I'm not being feminist at all. If you give a request your father to prepare coffee for you, it may sound absolutely rubbish. So why this happen? It is same milk, it is same coffee powder, it is same gas burner, it is exactly the same cup you have. Then what happened is the manufacturing process of coffee was not followed as same by everyone, and that's why we are not getting the same quality of end product, that is coffee that you are drinking. So what we need to do, we need to put a standard work in place. Standard work is very simple approach in industry, where every single operation is performed in a very standard way, which guarantees the outcome of that process will be same, doesn't matter who is performing that operation. The next kind of control strategy implementation is through sampling plan. You need to understand when to sample and where to sample. If you only sample at the middle, you will not get the good understanding how the product process is working. If you sample only at the beginning or end, it won't help. So you have to put a right control strategy around sampling plans, that where you need to sample while validation, where you need to sample while verification, and where you need to sample while routine manufacturing. And finally, and the most important part, which many of the industry lack today, is called as CPV, that is continuous process verification. So for example, I will just use this particular conference example. For example, we developed a very good siRNA technology product, which has been successfully launched through QBD-TRA that Dr. Bhoop talked about. So we performed QBD on this siRNA technology, and we performed very good validation. We have technical risk assessment, we have managed to get the all the risk mitigated, we have good control strategy, and we have good batch record, and everything is working fine. Suddenly one day we understand that the efficacy of our product has reduced drastically by 4% or 5%. We don't know what happened, we don't know what may be the root cause, and then we may spend 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, a month, 3 months to investigate that. The better approach of working through this is continuous process verification. What we do in continuous process verification, so when we perform this control strategy map, we identify CQA, that is called as critical quality attribute, and we will also identify CPP, that is critical process parameter, and we start trending our process parameter. I will just give you example of process parameter in manufacturing of monoclonal antibody. So when we manufacture monoclonal antibody in the upstream process, when you freeze thaw the bank culture, the temperature of fish thawing is one of the critical process parameter, which if you trend it, you will see that in one of the batches the freezing temperature went up to only -16, where the batch document was mentioning -16 to -20. What operator will tell you, the range was -16 to -20, I was within the range, though I was at the lower end of that at the higher end of that thawing temperature. But what effect we saw, effect cumulatively, by making all the changes, is the yield at the end is reduced by 1 2 3 or maybe 4%. That is huge. So If you continuously trained your process parameter against your quality attribute, so the thawing temperature is directly correlated with the yield of the product. And if you keep trending the thawing temperature and there is no variability, and then if you keep trending the yield of the product and there is also no variability, one day when you will have variability in thawing temperature, and if you see a correlated variability in yield of your product, you will clearly understand what was the root cause of this low yield. So this kind of continuous process verification help us to understand a very small drift in the process, a slight changes in the incoming raw material which may have impact on our product quality, a slight changes in seasonal attribute which may have impact on our product quality. For example, if we are talking about manufacturing areas like Chennai or Goa, or even if we are talking about manufacturing areas like um, Dublin in Ireland, or we are talking about Orleans in France, or we are talking about Bladel in Finland, the natural seasonal variability that in winters the temperature goes in European countries minus 10, 15, 20, whereas in summer the temperature is high, in high 20s. If we are talking about Indian cities, specifically Chennai, the summer has high temperature, high humidity. Winters is heavy rainfall, that is low temperature, still high humidity. This seasonal variability have direct correlated impact on your CPP, that is process parameter, and it will have impact on your quality attribute. But if we don't have these risks identified, every day we will have to sit and discuss failures of our product, which is absolutely not acceptable in a commercial environment of any company. So this particular process design aspect which I just explained on this side will help you to keep your product well within the specification, so that you will not see failures, or if at all you see failure, you will have a direct correlation to the root cause to repair what went wrong. So this is overall process design step. Moving to how this is been done. So as I mentioned, always there is a FMEA process where you have unit operation, you understand what can go wrong, you try to understand what affects what is going wrong, finally you score that particular failure mode, you convert it into a product control strategy that goes at a shop floor as a batch record or a standard work, and finally you keep trending these parameters and attributes to gain the control on your process. Moving to the next step of process qualification. Process qualification is process validation where you generally have a complete understanding of the source and the impact of whatever variation happens in your process that will impact your output. For process qualification, the input is, first of all, you should understand the product development history. You should have a technical risk assessment, which I just explained a slide before. You should have a product control strategy ready. You should have a qualified facility. What means by that? You should have installation and operational qualification done on your equipments and testing machines. Validation master plan should be ready, that how you are going to validate, what is your strategy of validation. We should have validated and robust analytical methods ready. The SOPs at shop floor should be ready. The manufacturing batch record, which is prepared using the technical risk assessment we have performed, a cleaning validation assessment should be ready. When we have all these inputs ready, we go into process qualification, that either verifying the equipment utilities are capable of operation within defined parameter, and confirmation of product control strategy that must only be undertaken when product or processes are understood and controlled. If this all goes as we expect, finally there is an output that we will have a validated process. We will understand, do we need to update our product control strategy? We will also understand that, do we need to update the trending plan? Do we really need to trend this parameter? And finally we will get an approval to proceed with commercial manufacture that help your organization to become commercially successful. So this is the stage 2 of product lifecycle management, that is process qualification. So I will just paraphrase. Stage 1 is getting ready to manufacture through performing technical risk assessment, through getting the product control strategy of the technical risk assessment. The second stage is process qualification, that by using your technical risk assessment, using your product control strategy, you qualify the manufacturing process for commercial manufacture. And the next stage is continuous process verification. Continuous process verification is the process by which we verify that our product control strategy remains capable and in its validated state during routine commercial manufacture. This is what many regulators like WHO, FDA, MHRA, right now, if we talk about Anvisa, if we talk about HPRA, these all authorities are asking for how you maintain the validated state of your product. So there is a very simple flow diagram to perform this. So you assess the process to continuous process verification, you adjust the process, you watch the process. Again, you assess the process, that means you trained all the data, that data is well within the control chart, the process capability, that is ppk value and cpk values of your process, that is the probability of failure is well understood. If you are having low probability process capability, you adjust the process by change control. Again, you watch the process, that means you observe the process and assess the process. So this is a continuous cycle which is going on at the manufacturing shop floor. So what you do, you confirm the critical quality attribute and critical process parameter that are to be included in our verification program. Then you start collecting data, you clean the data, and you import it into a statistical tool. You understand the process capability of this data, that means by changing a particular trend, what is the direct impact on the end product, and does this pushes our end product out of specification or not. This is simply called as process capability assessment. If required, for example, if we are talking about paracetamol tablet and the assay limit is 95% to 105%, but if you think there is some variability or some manufacturing glitch in your product, you can even establish an alert limit. That means you can set your software with the limit of 97 to 103% for assay. So if any of the batch reaches to this 97 to 103%, you will get alert, which is called as alert limit. Then you use statistical control chart to monitor the process. You prioritize all CQAs and CPPs for improvement. If the data is really, really bad, then you go and you perform root cause assessment. You improve the process and implement those improvements. And then finally, you sustain the improvement. This is how you continuously keep your process verified to maintain the validated status of the process. And the key message out of the whole discussion is product control strategy is the methodology by which we design, implement, and control as well continuously improves our product and processes. Effective execution of this PLM will help you to understand, control, and reduce your process variation, enabling you to control waste and eliminate defects. PLM is an end-to-end interactive process that starts early development and throughout the commercial manufacturing. It ties together the critical quality concept of risk assessment, control strategy, validation, monitoring, and change controls. It is equally applicable to our legacy product as well as new product. So if you say that there was one product developed by our company 80 years ago, now how come we are going to put this new concept to it? So you can retrospectively perform technical risk assessment and understand the key risk in manufacturing, train that data. If anything is drifting, repair the process, watch the process, and then assess the process. The cycle goes on. So very simple philosophy of product lifecycle management is managed here. So the inner triangle is core processes and outer triangle is PLM processes. So development and manufacturing history of the product. So if it is a new product, you have the development history. If it is old product, you have manufacturing history. So we design the process. That means we perform the risk assessment. Based on the risk assessment, we maintain the validation master plan, that is called as validation life cycle, which is completely different topic which we may cover at some other time. This validation master plan either asks you to validate or revalidate the product, which will help us to put our control strategy into action by process qualification. Once we have the process qualification done and we have the validation summary, we will start data trending. That is our continuous process verification stage 3. If you see that any of the data is drifting downward or upward, you try to understand the root cause and try to change the process through change control management. And finally, once again, if the process is changing drastically, you will do the TRA, you will understand risk in new process control, you will validate it, and the cycle goes on. PLM can help us predict when a process may fail, hence preventing that batch rejection, deviation, and waste. Importantly, it shall ensure product safety, patient safety, and regulatory confidence. I will give you just one example in next 5 minutes before I conclude the session. There was one product that we were working with. This product was one of the most robust product in GSK. At one day, we understood that 3 batches of the product failed for specification at lower end of assay. So the specification was 95 to 105%. The product failed at 94%. API content in this product was 72%. So there was no way that out of 72% we would have lost more than 5% of API. When we performed the root cause analysis, what we did, we went back to the control strategy and we checked what changed. So in this product, when the product was used to fill into sachet, there was huge dusting on the packaging line. So manufacturing operators decided to increase the vacuum suction on the manufacturing line, so all the dust on the packaging line will be sucked through vacuum. And when they perform this change, they do not assess the change with technical risk assessment, they do not check it with us as a GSK site. They went ahead and implemented the change. The API in this product was in a powdered form and it was in a very fine powder part. So when this vacuum suction was increased drastically, the dusting of this API was being sucked over the packaging line while filling this powder into sachet for sealing, and that has drifted the manufacturing process by changing the process parameter of vacuum suction, which had direct impact on critical quality attribute of assay of API in the product. We corrected the process, we adjusted the vacuum to optimal level, and now we are back into the normal trending. So this is the best benefit of it. If we would not had our TRA perform, if we would not have the track of the changes of our manufacturing process, we would have spent days and months understanding that 72% concentration of API, how it can go down 95% of the overall limit. And this is the best benefit I can describe, that you save time, you save money, you save resources, and at the end of the day, you maintain your license to operate. I will conclude my session here. I will thank all the participants for patient listening, and I would request Dr. Upasni that if there are any questions for me, I will be available to answer them.
Thank you, Dr. Anand, for your enlightening lecture. I'm not able to find any queries here. Dr. Prashant, if you can assist me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, there are no questions by the delegates. So I think it was very nice session by Dr. Anand. I request Dr. Upasni sir to conclude this session. Sir, please.
Yes, I'm thankful Dr. Anand Bhandari for delivering a informative lecture on product life cycle management in pharmaceutical industry. And I'm really happy to note that Anand Bhandari sir is doing very well there in UK, and that too in GlaxoSmithKline. Working in GlaxoSmithKline is not an easy job, and very happy to know that you are working on production line and using various techniques, technologies for your products. So your experience will be very much helpful for all of us, and we will be happy to inform our students also, and expecting that Dr. Anand Bhandari will help our students in this regard. Thank you so much, Dr. Anand Bhandari. Thank you very much, Dr. Sunil Amrutkar, for giving me this opportunity to get associated with Dr. Anand for an hour. Thank you.
Thank
Over
you,
to
sir.
you,
Thank
Prashant.
you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dr. Anand, I am very proudfully say that you are my MPharm classmate. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Anand. I remember a quote of appreciation. I should not appreciate my classmate, but I must appreciate you as far as session is concerned. You can appreciate the light, but before that, you have to know the darkness. Thank you, Dr. Anand. I am very much thankful to you. On behalf of my college, Bukla Education Society, Sir Dr. M.S. Gosavi College of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, I am thankful to Dr. C.D. Upasni, sir, for sparing his valuable time. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Anand, you accepted our invitation for delivering a session in this conference, international conference. I am thankful to you, Dr. Anand. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I request all the delegates to join for valedictory function. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much,
With
Prashant.
your
I'm
kind
evenly
permission,
proud of you.
Dr. Anand and Basni sir, may I go offline for this session, please?
Thank you.
Please. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a nice day, sir. Have a nice day.
Okay.